cloud-cloaked lightning flashes out on the horizon. Floating fishing boats in brief illumination. Out on the waves, old men with flashlights and wrinkled faces mumbling Kampong dialect Malay. Pulling nets of cuttlefish aboard. Clove-scented cigarettes hang from the corners of their mouths. Make them squint. Make their mumbled words even less intelligible. Distant thunder mumbles too. It won't rain tonight. The wind blows away from the main island. Away from its twinkle-lighted shore. The storm must be scented over Penang. Or maybe the mainland. Monsoon muddle. The seasonal storms seem to have skipped Langkawi this year. Call it climate change. The locals don't need it explained. They see it in the sky. They see it on the land. The way the paddy fields flood one year and go dry the next. The way this season's coconuts are small and hard and dry. The way the fish are smaller now and take more time to find. The dark water makes slapping sounds against the wooden boats. Wrinkled old men's faces in brief illumination. Distant lightning and cigarette coals. The old men don't need to talk. They know each other very well. Long hours and long lives in close proximity. Shared boats and shared catches. Shared kampangs and shared families. All entangled in the same net. By marriage and by blood. Twin lines many times entwined. Lines that would take a fisherman's patience to unravel and untie. 30 boats of cousins dipping and rising on each wave. At night time on the sea. Their grandfathers' grandfathers were pirates. Perhaps. Preying on trading ships sailing through Malacca Straits. Plundering parties pillaging in the Andaman Sea. Orang Lot. Orang Silat. The Lenanan Solates. The scourge of the Sultans and Siam. The enemies of the empire. They plundered the Portuguese. They dogged and dodged the Dutch. Then they slipped away and lost themselves. Hiding in these islands is not difficult to do. Their descendants all are Muslims. They set out when the sun sets down, sinking into the sea beyond their fishing grounds. The waters have changed within their lives. The sharks are all long gone. It's rare now for our turtle to get snagged up in the nets. There once were crocodiles in the mangrove swamps. Mangroves chopped for charcoal created new mud flats, where fishermen's children, and their children's children, hunt for shellfish at low tide. Land beneath the waves, land that was never claimed, is filled with toppled mountains and then becomes reclaimed. Other projects project long walls into the sea. Barriers built to keep in mud kept out the tsunami. The airport runway ends where once there was a bay. The fishermen see late flight night lights in the sky. The airplanes fly low overhead. More tourists come. More tourists go. The fishermen's children, and their children's children work in 5-star hotels. Drive air-conditioned taxis. Cook and wait in beachfront restaurants. Sell plastic shoes and plastic eagles to eager tourists in their shops. An easier life than a life at sea. The lines they know have more to do with broadband than fishing. Pirates and surfers on wireless waves. The beachfront restaurants turn out their lights, replaced by stars above. The old men have their own names for the stars and constellations. Names that were never written down and probably never will be. Spotlights burn out night vision, but bring the fish to nets and lines. Nets are hauled by colored hands. Water splashes sparkle in the floodlit night. The night air is heavy and humid. The nets are half empty and light. Shining silvery fish flap and flop. Cuttlefish squirm and squirt black ink. Later stained hands are washed. The salty water is warm and stings in new net cuts. Helps the small wounds heal faster. Long nights of water and waves. Mumbles and clove cigarettes. A long night near its end. broken by a sudden shout from a rocking boat. An old man stumbles and falls overboard. This never happens. Something isn't right. He's hauled back in. His breath comes in croaks and gasps. Box jellyfish. A new threat from the sea. Anaphylactic shock. Vinegar and banana peels don't work this time. The old man wheezes in pain and clutches a cousin's hands. Other boats motor closer. Wooden hulls bump and touch. A hollow thumping sound. More watery wooden slaps. A standing man raises his palms in prayer. The others stand up too. They bow their heads and join him. A cousin's hands feel the old man's grip tighten. A bone-crushing grip. Fisherman strong. Silent last prayer movement of the old man's lips. The fishermen see the night time fading. The spread of morning light. The sun breaks the horizon, and with a final sigh, the old man's grip loosens. This is the ebb and flow of life. Time for the tide to go out. A cousin's rough-cut fingers tenderly close the old man's eyes. He left on the water at sunup. He'll be buried in the ground by sundown.